The EFF has thrown a spanner in the works in both the Joburg and City of Tshwane councils. The Red Berets are fielding Musa Novela for Joburg mayor when outgoing mayor Herman Mashaba steps down tomorrow. Adding to the Democratic Alliance's woes is an urgent motion of no confidence the EFF has tabled in Tshwane Mayor Stephen's Mokgalapa. The party says the DA administration has proven incapable of resolving the city's service delivery challenges. Right now we're joined by EFF Spokesperson Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, who's joining us from our Parliamentary studio. Good evening and welcome to The Full View. Why this decision by the EFF, starting off with the nomination for mayoral candidate in the City of Joburg?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. The obvious vacancy in Johannesburg that has been created with the departure of Herman Mashaba necessitates that there should be a new mayor. And therefore, we have, as communicated last week, taken a decision to field a candidate that we believe is capable of completing the sterling work that Mr. Mashaba had already started, which has been largely to drive a very poor city administration in Johannesburg. So we will be putting a candidate who is the chairperson of the EFF in Johannesburg, Musa Novela, and we're confident that he's capable and up to the task.
Yeah, confident that he's capable and up to the task, but are you confident that the other parties, which is probably the DA or the ANC in this case, would be able to be swayed or persuaded by his nomination that this is the person that we should be backing?
Well, we advise them to do so because they both have had chances, and those chances have been seriously undermined by their internal inconsistencies, contradictions, and fights. And the EFF is very stable in Johannesburg, but across the country in general. So we are putting the candidate. We have not spoken to any of them. As a matter of fact, the DA for a very long time hasn't been very productive in relation to their imagination of the relationship with the EFF. They've been essentially hostile. The people of South Africa are well abreast on this matter. So we're fielding the candidate, and our attitude is that let the best person win.
Mm-hmm. But on what basis are you fielding this candidate, knowing very well that you don't have the numbers, and you've just indicated that you haven't spoken to any of the other political parties?
Because we believe that the other political parties, that's what they do. They don't speak to us. They put candidates who are doing the same. But beyond that, it's precisely for the same reasons I've been explaining, that we think that the job that is remaining in Johannesburg, the consolidation of majority of those projects that began under Mashaba, which are in the main pro-poor, have been in line largely with the policies of the EFF, and that's the best political party moving forward. But secondly, we have demonstrated the greatest stability of any political party that is on the council, and so that's the basis in which we are doing it. It's their time to support an EFF candidate.
Okay, what happens if there's no outright majority?
The rules are going to apply. I would imagine that the council would stand down. It will have to reconvene. Those conditions might mean that a lot of people will be forced to now come into the table and consider a deal. The Commander-in-Chief indicated, and perhaps this leads us to the second conversation in relation to Tshwane, that really a situation we would be persuaded by is one where we are given a chance to govern on our own in one city and give other people a chance to govern in Tshwane. And so the possibilities of the developments in Tshwane may indeed help with a certain form of a balance of power, an act of a balance of power to the possible negotiations or the possible deals that could be cut. But this time we're not going to just enter into the conversation without a candidate. We have a candidate and we want our candidate to be supported. That's the point of departure.
Okay, so a candidate in the city of Joburg. Would you be fielding a candidate in the city of Tshwane if indeed Stephen's Mokgalapa is that motion of no confidence against him is successful?
We have not made that decision yet. The only decision we have made now is a motion of no confidence, which we are pursuing, despite even the fact that they've placed him on a special leave to investigate what seems to be in any way obvious. But we're raising much more substantial issues regarding the incapability of the DA leadership in Tshwane. They've been the most poorest of all the municipalities that they've been given a chance to lead. They've been mostly dismal in Tshwane. There are serious problems of service delivery that come out of the basic inadequacy in leadership to coordinate a coalition government, include everybody into the processes, build a consensus on all programs and budgets. They govern as if, they won the elections, number one. But number two, they've got an incredibly, demonstrably weak leader as a mayor, which we have been patient and our patience has run off.
Does the EFF at all take on some culpability that it is on the basis of the EFF support that the DA was governing the city of Tshwane, and all the issues that you've listed in where they failed, they could only have happened because the EFF supported them, that they were governing in the city of Tshwane? So do you take at least some culpability, some responsibility?
Yes, absolutely. We initially supported opposition parties in different municipalities, but at the core, it's the indecision of the voters themselves. It's the situation that the voters put us in. And what was a fact circumstantially was that they had voted the ANC out. They did not want the ANC anymore. And we thought that let's give the Democratic Alliance a chance. But the levels of their arrogance make them an impossible partner in Tshwane in particular to can work with. But even as we did fold our arms in relation to the recent mayor when he was elected, they still continue to do business in total isolation of coalition and other opposition parties. We're not in a coalition with them. We never took any position of government, but they still led council without wanting to be in any conversation. Like, for instance, it happened in Johannesburg. You could, on the basis of budgets, persuade a 24-hour clinic, persuade the insourcing of security guards and cleaners. But those conversations were impossible in Tshwane because of the dismal lack of leadership.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, the EFF spokesperson. They're joining us from our parliamentary studio. And if you just heard there during that interview as well, the Tshwane Mayor, Mokgalapa, has been placed on a special leave. Has been placed on special leave pending an investigation into serious allegations following a widely circulated audio recording where he can be heard gossiping about his colleagues with the Roads and Transport MMC Shilalin Sinkunhupe. Both have admitted it is indeed them talking on the recording, but claim that the recording was manipulated to make it sound like they are having an affair.